In today's video, we're checking out Ecoflow's all-new robotic lawnmower, the Ecoflow Blade. We'll go through some setup and also requirements of this unit, and just to see how well it works and if this happens to be a good option for you guys. Now, when unboxing the blade, there's actually not a lot of pieces that go with it. You'll have three main pieces: your stand, also a bunch of accessories, and the Ecoflow blade itself. Inside the accessories box is your charging cable and also some lag screws. These are used for once you find a place for your charging station, you're going to want to mount it in place that way it doesn't move, along with some cable pegs. That way you can space the cable out around the border about every 2.5 feet. That way when the lawnmower comes by, it doesn't pick it up. Other items in the box also include replacement blades, along with your manual, which honestly is missing a little bit of information, and then your GPS antenna, which this requires just a little bit of assembly, but is actually very easy. Okay, so this is what it looks like with everything out of the box. You have the blade and the docking station. Most of this stuff is already set up. The only thing that's not set up is a stick over there. That's the thing that needs to be assembled, which just is a cable that runs through it, and we'll go through and set this up real quick. But Ecoflow does have a video, which after you download the app and go through all the setup process, the video is actually pretty good. So I'm not going to re-demonstrate that. We're going to see how well this actually works, and to give you the pros and cons of this unit after we get it all set up. Okay, so one of the issues I'm already running into is that each piece right here, the base or the docking station, and then you come over here to the actual blade unit, and this is your GPS stick. Now this is actually all really easy to assemble, but the problem is each one of these units needs to be outside. It actually has to be in an unobstructed area that doesn't have, big trees in the way. Obviously your house can't be in the way either, because it has to be able to pick up satellites. I had no idea that this was actually all supposed to be outside, which I don't have a backyard anymore. I only have a front yard. So obviously if this is living outside in the front yard, then that poses a small problem, at least for me as a user, to where, this thing has to live out here so it can automatically do everything it's supposed to. But of course, what happens with that is that you have a lot of guys who like to walk by and take your nice stuff. Real basic installation, because obviously this is probably something I'm not going to be able to use just due to the fact that these do have to stay out here. But if you are installing this, the installation is actually really easy, because all of the cables are labeled. They're just A1 goes to A1 and B1 goes to B1. And then that cable there has a connection inside the GPS stick. And that's really it. And then we just have to download the app to the unit itself, and then get that all dialed up with firmware update and just all the settings and stuff, and then we'll see how well that goes here in a minute. All right, so you may not be able to see it, but lights are on. Pretty hard to tell out here in the bright sun, but start charging. And now it's charging. Okay, so I've got the mower now connected with a new app, and it is downloading the new firmware upgrade. It might be hard for you guys to see that, obviously, with the glare, but this will take a few minutes. So if you get one of these, you'll probably have to do the same. Okay, so firmware is now updated on the blade, and now we have to check our satellite signal. So we'll go in here. Oh, look at that, nice and strong. So that's a good signal there, so I don't really have to fix the antenna. All right, now search device positioning satellite, so mower control practice. So we can start practicing in 3, 2, 1. Let's see what happens here. Oh, there it goes. And now we can use the app here to start controlling the mower by just kind of pressing this around. So I'm going to go backwards a little like this. There it goes. Turn the bar over here like so. And now it's turning. Look at that. This is more like a toy than a tool, right? So look at that. I'm going to turn over here a little bit. So check that out. Pretty cool. Now, it's kind of interesting because the Omni wheels are up front, and that allows those wheels to spin. I don't know if you guys have seen how these work, but these Omni wheels freely spin, each one of them, allowing this thing to be able to kind of freely float and turn over the terrain that it goes over. And then the back axle this actually rotates back and forth as well, so it does pivot. So I'm going to get this mapped out now on my lawn, and then we'll see how this does. And it says manually control the mower to the edge of the lawn, then tap start to start the mapping. So here we go. I'm going to actually start it. Well, probably over there. Won't really matter, but... Now another thing too is that they tell you that your lawn should be about 3 inches or less, and my lawn's a little bit unlevel. I have some low and high spots, so I'm about 2 3/4 inches to right around 3 in most of these spots, because I do have a couple roots that are over there, some low dips that are over there, but so we'll see how well this does after we get it mapped out. Okay, so here's going to be where I start my mapping. All the way around the perimeter, and I'm gonna have to just stay right on the inside right there, so we'll see how well and how easy this is. Okay, when it comes to mapping out your yard, especially with the app, it does seem a little bit difficult to drive the blade kind of exactly where you want, because it will kind of go back and forth, and you do have that little kind of button that you're trying to you know, control the blade. It'd almost be better if you walked the perimeter and recorded it in your phone, and then you could just upload it to the blade. I think that would seem like it'd be a little bit easier than trying to drive it to have it plot, or maybe there was some kind of a plotter that you could, you know, load up into it. But anyway, we'll see how well it works now that I got it loaded up. Now I do have the lawn sweeper kit as well, and this actually just goes together real easy. It just clips together, plugs right in. But this doesn't work the same way a normal lawnmower collection system would. This is going to go around first, sweep up any leaves, little sticks, and even some pet waste, I guess it says it'll do. Then go around, mow the lawn, and then come back around and sweep it again to collect it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit the app and now put it to start and see what it does.
Task start.
Oh well, at least it's making, I didn't know what would happen there, but, and again I have this set on a really high setting. I have it on the highest setting right now, like 3-inch cut, and it comes out of the sides here is where it's really kind of flicking all this stuff. But I have this kind of a lip right here, and then this border, right? So as you can see that, if it comes down this, I mean, it already made it back up once. I don't know if it'll be able to do it again in certain spots. So we'll see. Now with this thing trying to climb the little bit of a grade that I have here, it kind of decides, well, it doesn't want to go up so much. And it even kind of gets itself stuck here, but it actually has gotten stuck twice and managed to get itself out. And it even shows you kind of a working time of how it's kind of got a grid section in this lawn. I'll show you guys here. It's trying to run off of a grid versus kind of doing how I walked my lawn. I tried to get it to go into a certain circle or whatever, but it wants to do this grid pattern. So that would actually be nice to change and have it go into a circle and just work its way from the outside and then work its way to the inside. So because it's trying to do the grid, it wants to overlap a little bit, and so this is causing a problem. Okay, so this part of my lawn is just about 10 degrees, and I have sections of it that it ranges from 10, almost 15. And they said that 15 degrees, I believe, is the max amount of slope. Now I did add the sweeper system on because this does add a little bit of weight. I would say maybe 6 pounds or so. But with the added weight, and at least with my lawn, it's possible it's gonna hinder it a little bit, because with the added weight, and plus with it being back there, it may get stuck, but who knows? Or sometimes maybe more weight under the rear wheels can sometimes be helpful. Overall, this thing is really quiet though. It's not very loud at all. Once it gets a few feet away, it doesn't make a whole lot of noise. And of course, with my little border here, that will cause issues. Now, I did remap it to where I ended up coming off the edge here a little bit more. I was kind of riding the edge with the mapping, and I ended up going in about probably 8 inches. So just for other people who may set this up, if you run the map slightly inside, it will go over the edge of the map a little bit as it kind of works its way back and forth. But overall, this is quite a job for this lawnmower for my type of lawn. Plus I have a small slope that's right there. So that does add a little bit more of a challenge for something like this. And again, I'm only running about 3 inches, just slightly under 3 inches high on this grass. Because where I live, the summers are very hot, so you want to run your grass at a taller length. I usually run about 3.5 almost in the summer, and my lawnmower is all the way up. That way it doesn't brown. At 3 inches or under, it just won't be able to keep itself cool enough, and it'll burn the grass. So.
Mower lifted. Please press the power button and then press the start button to continue. High slope detected. Please move to a lower slope and try again.
And they do come with extra blades like I showed earlier, so in case you happen to break these off, these are easily replaceable. Okay, now that I've done a little bit of mowing, we're going to go ahead and attach and use the sweeper. And you can see these little rubber blades. These are just going to start sweeping the basically grass clippings into our bag here. So we'll see how it does after it makes a few passes and see what it collects.
Successfully connected.
Okay, so once we get back into the app, go over here and we will go to sweep, save that there. Now we can go ahead and we'll start that.
Task start.
Okay, see how the sweeper does. Alright, so you kind of see it on the map as it moves around. Now I've got a couple roots over there, so, and again, I think the grass is slightly too deep for this particular item, but I mean, I've been using this now. This is day 2 actually, so the video is cut a couple times here because I want to make sure I get a good proper use out of this, and I did find some other features that I'll go over here in a little bit. But again, it's doing better now that I've got a little time to play with it. But again, I think, you know, because of my lawn, I have to have my lawn at a higher, you know, depth than other lawns because of where I live. My temperature gets 110 degrees in the summer repeatedly, and if you want your grass to stay green, it's got to be at a longer level. You got to have your cut height at least 3 inches around here or more. That way it doesn't burn out and dry. And to just kind of show you, you can move the map around a little bit. Zoom in, zoom out. Kind of get an idea of everything that's going on. Obviously, it shows you percentage worked, or at least completed. Also your charge state. So the app does have some good functionality, and that is one thing with the Ecoflow. Their apps they're pretty good. Okay, day 4 on the blade. So I just did a firmware update. This is the 3rd one now, which it'll continue to get more updates as they get more information on it. I reconfigured my lawn basically as well. I ended up mowing it way down, so it was about 2 3/4 to almost 3 inches tall. And now if you take a look, so now we are running right about 2 inches depending on where we go. This is still about, well, maybe 2 inches there. And there will be a few deep spots. This one's about 2.5, so there are going to be a little variables, but this will kind of change things now on how this thing does as far as, you know, sweeping and mowing. So hopefully it performs a little bit better. It was doing actually better the more times I played with it and set it up, but I'm going to have it sweep the whole lawn because I did mow it. So I do want to see how well it does. And I also remapped it to where now, if the remapping is probably about here, I'd say a good 8-10 inches away from the edge, and then I'm going to use the edge control to see how well it does. So get it going. Okay, so now I have a new perimeter of just under 1,000 feet, fully charged, and it should start on sweeping mode. Okay, so it made the whole complete trip in the work area zone, and now it's working on edge work, and it automatically switched to that to where it says edge work time is at 2 minutes, and it's actually following the perimeter that I marked out when I basically did the setup. So the more I use this, the more it's actually getting, you know, better at what I want it to do. These are things you kind of don't really see in the instructions too much, so I could have probably got this a little bit closer to the edge, and it would have got all the way up to my little border here with the stones. Okay, now it's actually done, and it's going to work its way up to the docking station, so we'll see how well it does. And this is my largest slope right here. This is almost 15 degrees, which is basically where it says not to have any more slope than, well, 15 degrees. So let's see how well it does at aligning itself with the bag on the back. And we'll see how full it is. No, didn't like that. Now again, of course, this little border here isn't going to be helpful for it. Looks like it's trying to realign, I guess. Well, there it went.
Start charging.
Well, there goes. Full completion of the job for sweeping, and it did the edge mode, so that was actually pretty neat. We'll see how much we collected.
Lawn sweeper kit has been removed.
Alright, so I mean, it collected some. Oh, okay, there we go, a little bit better. Yeah, so that's actually not too bad. There's a decent amount in there. I thought I would have picked up a little bit more, but there is an adjustment, I think, over here. Okay, that's not actually adjustment. That one there is just for unlocking it, so you can remove the blades and basically clean them or maybe replace them as needed. Okay, so to do that whole area, it took about 10% of the battery, and now it's already been charging, so it's back up to 93 now, but it was down to 90% by the time it came back. And after going through the app more, you can actually set this up to sweep, then mow, and sweep again just by changing your work times. So you can add a bunch of work times to it to get it to do all three of those. So if it took 10% to sweep it, maybe another 10% to mow it, and then re-sweep again plus your edge work, you'll probably burn on a lawn like this size, I bet at least 40%, maybe 50% of the energy. And this particular unit too, when you pop off the little battery cover here, you can also pop out the battery as well. And then there's your battery. The whole thing just comes right out. And one thing with this battery, this is not lithium iron phosphate. This is a lithium ion rechargeable battery. So you can see right there the specs on it. It's 298 watt hours and basically just a 25 volt battery or a 21 volt battery. But you know, so I'm kind of curious as to why. I mean, you know, they didn't go with lithium iron phosphate, especially since to do your lawn, you're going to at least mow it and sweep it each time. So that's 2 cycles right there, let's say twice a week. So you're going to get a decent amount of cycles out of this thing. And if these are only guaranteed for about, well, I don't know, maybe what, 800 cycles is kind of normal for these batteries, give or take. Well, then, you know, that could wear out a little bit quicker, but I assume they'll have some replaceable batteries for these, and you know, we'll have to see what they do later, because you can get some replaceable blades, I assume, which, you know, just like the cutting blades, you'll have replaceable sweeping blades. Now, after playing with the Ecoflow blade for several days, I did find it working better after I got some more of the parameters set as far as my edge cutting and making a better map, and also cutting the grass down a little bit shorter. This allowed it to actually go over the terrain a lot better, where I think the 3-inch limit is probably a little bit too high, at least for the type of grass that I have. Now again, I don't think this unit is ideal for at least my situation. One, because I do have a large set of grass with a border around it to where this can get stuck on it. And not to mention the fact that I do have to leave it outside out front where I don't have a backyard. So this isn't going to be something that's ideal for me. Now, even though this unit does have anti-theft measures, which include 4G GPS, it allows you to track it with technology. That way you can actually find out where this unit goes if somebody actually takes it. But that's as long as the battery is still charged or it hasn't been removed. Now, one thing with the Ecoflow blade, it does come with a warranty that no other manufacturer can provide, which is a 4-year warranty, and that actually includes a replacement warranty instead of repair, and not to mention free accessories for life of the unit. That way you can get free blades or cable pegs and more. Now, the Ecoflow blade does come in at $2,599, and if you want the additional sweeper kit, that's going to bump the price up to $3,000. But I do have discounts down in the description below if you guys are interested in this unit. And I'm very curious as to what you guys think about this new product from Ecoflow. And I hope you guys do like the video and the channel, and please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you guys next time.